Javakusum sankasham Kashyapeyam mahasrutim Tamo arim sarvapapagnam Pranatosmi divakaram Dadishankham tusharabham Kshirodarnavasambhavam Namami shashinam somam Shambhor mukuta bhushanam Dharani garbhasambhutam Kshirodarnavasam Vidyutakanti samaprabham Kumaram shaktihastam tam Mangalam pranamamyaham Priyanga kalikashyamam Rupena pratimam budham Saumya gunopetam Tam budham pranamamyaham Devanam cha rishinam cha Gurum kanchana sannibham Buddhibhutam trilokesham Cha gurum tam namami brihaspatim Himakunda mrinalabham Daityanam paramam gurum Sarvashastra pravaktaram Bhargavam pranamamyaham Neelanjana samabhasam Raviputram yamagrajam Chaya martanda sambhutam Tam namami shanaishcharam Ardhakayam mahaviryam Chandraditya vimardanam Simha garbha sambhutam Tam rahum pranamamyaham Palasha pushpa sankasham Taraka grahamastakam Raudram raudratmakam ghoram Tamaketum pranamamyaham. Well, friends, we have now come to the end of a very, very hectic astrological symposium. Whatever else may have happened in this symposium, at the end of it, you should remember that you saw an abnormal man called K.N. Rao. A man who took only half a meal in his entire stay in this hotel, who has never slept for more than 3 days, not more than 3 hours on a single day, and who is speaking to you on a day on which the moon is in the 6th house from his lagna and the moon, but my health is still all right. Except that my voice has become slightly choked. So I will first explain my voice is slightly choked. Before coming to this hotel, I had seen more than 90 or 100 horoscopes at different stations and given them consultations in writing or it was tape recorded. After I came to the hotel, I almost decided that I will not be able to do consultations because, as Mr. Dennis explained, the type of suit, separate arrangement, that apart, I was more interested, since I was amidst astrologers, that I would discuss more of astrology as far as possible and go into various techniques. Let me tell you, in all astrological seminars and symposia, astrology is discussed best not on the stage but off the stage, not formally but informally. Some of you sitting here will remember that when we went on discussing deep through the night up to 3 o'clock, almost every day in my room, we discussed most astrology and so many points than we could do here. When I entered this hall, I was looking at everyone and I was missing Tamara. I was searching her. Why? Day before yesterday night up to 12 o'clock, she was tearing us to pieces. Absolutely. I like that spirit. I appreciate that spirit. And I said, well, I'll meet her points. Then from 12 to 3 o'clock in the night, I said, you read out your horoscope. She read out. I said, has this happened in your life or not? She said, yes. At this time, she said, yes. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. 20 or 25 examples in 3 hours I just gave. I said, I will do nothing. I will not even note down your horoscope. You read out the horoscope from there and from here I tell you. Then they asked me, how do you say that? I said, I have so many techniques. Now when I say I have so many techniques, I naturally wanted to share it. It is not difficult. It is very, very difficult to share it from this stage. It is very easy to sit and in an informal gathering go on as you like. There is no restriction there. You don't feel constrained. So anyway, I enjoyed that atmosphere so much here. I am most grateful to Laura and Tamara so much because they kept on egging and trying to draw something out of me. I said, yes, I'll do that. That spirit I like. In Delhi, of course, Debbie Rest used to do that. She came to the class also. She'd put a horoscope on the board. She said, discuss this. So I said, we'll discuss. So it went on. So that is the atmosphere I enjoyed most. But I'm sorry if in the process I have not been able to give consultations to some of you here. I apologize for that. But I was more interested in astrological discussions. When I am amidst astrologers, we must have more astrological discussion. Outside this, you can have more consultations. So I will start with that apology. Now briefly I will tell you about our activities in Delhi because many of you asked and therefore I promised to you I will speak about it here and explain to you briefly what we are doing in Delhi. You know, in India we are very poor organizers. You should also know we don't have resources. The Indian tradition has been you build up everything around one man's sacrifice. That's all. Last year you saw Dr. Raman. Today you are discussing astrology. But do you know what sacrifices he's made? When he started the astrological magazine in 1938, he did not have enough money even to pay for the meals of his children in the house. He had to pawn the golden ornaments of his wife to pay the bills of publication of astrological magazine. And he went on a cycle and distributed the magazine, sold them himself. He went on struggling till 1944. I have written in my astro-biographical sketch of Dr. Raman, between 1924 and 1944, 20 years, he hovered on the fringes of poverty, but he kept alive that spirit without compromising morally. And today if that man is world famous, you can see why he is world famous in his horoscope. So he made those sacrifices. We followed it up by starting classes in Delhi. We have no institution. But there is that great institution, Bharati Vidya Bhavan, which believes in this culture of spreading. They extended to us the courtesy and they gave us the facility of their halls, of their setup. We made use of it. And today Bharati Vidya Bhavan depends on us and we depend on them. They are known because of our astrology classes and we are known because we make use of that institution. But we have no institution, we have no building, we have no resources. And I am one of those who insist that no institution should have more money. The moment you have more money, your attention gets diverted into wrong channels. The main mission, the main spirit sometimes is forgotten. Your heart is where your treasure is, Christ said. That is as true today as it was when the great Christ said that. So therefore, we continue in that missionary spirit. Number two, you wanted to. We don't take any money for teaching in Bharati Vidya Bhavan. We take only conveyance allowance. By your American standards, I am the heaviest worked man in that institute, and by your American standards, I get only $20 a month. So that is a very different spirit altogether in India. In that spirit we continue. Then how do we do the teaching? I am giving you some simple examples. And I have told that in the initial session which I take up here, I will try to ignore the more advanced people among you in the audience, and I will try to reach down to the level of the person who understands astrology least or who may even be a beginner. And if I am able to convey myself properly, if I am able to communicate properly, then I think I have succeeded. So kindly for 1 hour have patience with me. Those of you who know astrology so well, the well-known authors, you just ignore me for the time being. Now I am starting. First thing first. Astrology is full of blind spots. An astrologer has greater blind spots. So I am starting with an example of a blind spot which was a challenging spot of 1990-91 in India. What happened was, there was a Romanian ambassador, Radu, R-A-D-U. He was kidnapped by Punjab terrorists. And the Delhi paper was full of criticism against the Delhi police and its failure to offer protection to an ambassador in India. Some friends of mine in Delhi police, very high-ranking officers, they came to me and asked me, "Cannot your astrology help us?" I said, "Yes, I can do Prashna Kundali and I can also work on the horoscope. But I prefer working on a horoscope, birth horoscope, Prashna Kundali not so much. I gave up Prashna Kundali or Horary nearly 20 years ago or more than 25 years ago. The reason is, people who go to an astrologer sometimes can be so insincere as to ask a question light-heartedly, then the Prashna Kundali goes wrong. But if you give me a horoscope, it's a correct horoscope, I will work hard. If not in 1 hour, in 2 hours, I will come to the point, even without your telling me, and I will tell you what exactly is the problem. That means hard work. I have enough techniques to do that. In this case, there was one great difficulty. First of all, the wife of Review Radu, whose photo I saw in newspaper, appeared physically to be 4 times than what I am. And the statement she had given made her look like a very terrible woman who was scolding the pressmen always when they went to interview her. Then the policeman said, can you give prediction? I said, I want her his birth details of the missing ambassador. One of them managed to get 18th November 1938 or 39. 38, Bucharest, birth time not known. The only incident he knows is 1991, October 9th, he has been kidnapped. The only other fact you know about this man is an ambassador. An ambassador who has been kidnapped. Now what do I do? What should be his lagna? You know only two facts. An ambassador who has been kidnapped. So one fact is ambassador, the other is he has been kidnapped. You don't know anything else about him. So how do you fix the lagna? Now if you see the horoscope carefully, I immediately looked at it, I said I will give him Sagittarius. I will read out. The planets for the benefit of the tape. Right. I will read out. Jupiter is in Aquarius, retrograde Saturn in Pisces, Ketu in Aries, Moon and Mars in Virgo, Rahu in Libra, Mercury, retrograde Venus, and the Sun in Scorpio. The birth time is unknown. Now how do I proceed? Straight away I said, this has to be Sagittarius, their ascendant. Why Sagittarius? Go by the Parashara principle. The 9th and the 10th Lord, that is the Sun and Mercury, form a great Raj Yoga. And they are in the 12th house, that is the foreign country. A great Raj Yoga in a foreign country only can make him an ambassador. So I said, I will fix this. Now the birth time is unknown, but birth lagna I have fixed. I have 2 hours within which I have to manipulate this. How do you proceed? Then there is what is known as the Chara Dasha system, Gemini. In such case, I can't make use of Inshotri Dasha at all, because in 2 hours, what will be the balance? What is the degree of the moon? So I made use of the Chara Dasha. I need 4 days, 4-hour session each with you to teach that. I would have loved to teach it. In such cases, I make use of Gemini's Chara Dasha quickly and find out. When Tamara was discussing, I said, during this period, was there any claim, big claim you got? She said, yes, my father won a case and got it. She said, how did you say that? I said, this is the Chara Dasha. Mentally I was calculating, I said, this should be so. So when you come, when you are walking on the road with me, if you know the Chara Dasha system, when myself and Dr. Charak, when we are discussing, walking on the road or lying on the bed, we discuss, mentally the horoscope must dance before you. And you can calculate verbally. So Chara Dasha is the most effective instrument for verification of a horoscope. So I quickly made use of Chara Dasha, noted down the degrees approximately, Gemini's 7 Karakas, Atma Karaka, Amatya Karaka, Bhatra Karaka, Matra Karaka, Putra Karaka, Jnati Karaka, Dara Karaka, and roughly timed. I said he should have been married round about 1965. Bare horoscope, bare horoscopic details. Marriage should have been round about 1965. He should have studied many foreign languages. he could possibly have one brother younger. He could have 2 children minimum with 1 abortion. Abortion naturally to the wife, not to the male. Then the police officer noted it down and he said, will you please come with us? I said, why should I go? You go and verify. She may not believe in astrology. I do not know her. She may scold me. It is you who want to know this. He said, no, please come. Then the chapter of Delhi Chairman 3, Mr. Tareja, myself, Mr. Chandar Gupta, who helped me so much in this conference and sent so many books, and the police officer, we went. This was noted down on a piece of paper. We asked questions and she confirmed most of the readings, except 2. He had an elder brother, not a younger brother. And the second place where I went wrong was, Radu's father was an officer, government officer. So that is all verified through Charadasha, not Vinchotri at all. Then she took the paper immediately from the police officer and saw that abortion, the police officer, out of a sense of delicacy which an Indian has, would not have asked that question. I see that. She saw it. She said, yes, this has also taken place. I have had an abortion. She was highly impressed by that one prediction only, abortion. She said, how did you find this out anyway? Now if you have Dhanur Lagna, Sagittarius, 5th house is Ketu aspected by Mars. That is a combination for an abortion. And who is the 5th lord? Mars. With the 8th lord aspected by Saturn. That is again a combination for miscarriage or abortion. So therefore Sagittarius was working. Then I gave them a prediction, by the end of November he would come back all by himself without the policeman having to do anything with it, which means without the policeman getting any credit for it. It's a bad prediction to give to policemen. But I said, anyway, if he will not be killed, you will at least have your part of your prestige salvaged. So it happened. He came back. But in the first week of November that year, a great famous Punjabi Hindi writer, Amrita Pritam, member of the Rajya Sabha then, was at my place. So she said, everyone is agitated about what is happening to Radu. I said, this is the prediction I have given, and this is the secret noting of the policemen in their files. Please see the copy. She saw the copy. That should have been 6th or 7th of November. She saw it, she kept quiet. She said, you insist he will come back? I said, yes, I insist he will come back. And he has been taken to a pilgrimage on western side of India. From there he will be taken somewhere else. He will have bad health, but he will come back in the last week of November. She was sitting in the Rajya Sabha on 25th of November that year. The Home Minister of India, Mr. Chavan, came and announced in the Rajya Sabha, the upper chamber, upper house, announced that Radu had come back and he had reached Delhi, his house. There were loud clapping. Mrs. Amrita Pritam told her other people, other MPs sitting next to them, I already knew on the 7th that in the last week he would come back. Mr. Rao insisted. I had not believed that prediction, but he has come back now. This she told to the then chairman of the Rajya Sabha, Mr. Shankar Dayal Sharma, who was then the Vice President of India. Then he wanted to meet me. He gave me his horoscope. Naturally, a Vice President wants to become a President in India. So he had only one question. My habit is I take the horoscope and quickly verify the past. That's my habit. Most of you seen here. Unless I verify the past, I don't accept the horoscope as correct. So quickly I asked some questions. He said yes. I said, there is no one stopping you. You are going to become the vice president. After he became the president, he neither invited Mrs. Amrita Pritam, who took me to him, nor me. That is India. But that was a prediction, and I wanted to make a full case study of those things along with that of Kennedy and Clinton and come to USA prepared with that. But Clinton's details I could not get, so that book I could not prepare. Kennedy I have prepared about 40-page study astrological and other people. Instead of that, I brought Indira Gandhi's and other. I have given the deepest astrological techniques in my book on Nehru dynasty. It is not a political book. It is not a historical book alone. It is politically historical, all right. But it is in that book that I have revealed my deepest astrological techniques. There, if you see my discussion in 73 pages of Indira Gandhi, that is the longest ever astro-biographical portrait to have appeared in the history of world astrological literature. Let me tell you this. I gave 10 out of 10 predictions about Indira Gandhi. 9 of them clicked. On what basis I gave? How do I make use of eclipses for national disasters, for the disasters in the life of an individual? I have given examples of Pandit Nehru, Indira Gandhi, Sanjay Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, the national horoscopes, 15 examples of eclipses at least, and the deep technique of interpreting a horoscope, how I combine the birth horoscope with the Navansha, with the Dashamansha, the Astakvarga, the Prashna Kundali, the Muhurta, all those things I have discussed in that book. So I will take that up in one of the subsequent sessions. So this is the one blind spot an astrologer will always run into. Don't go into any horoscope unless first of all you have made sure that the pattern of the past events is reflected. I insist events, not psychology. You may ask me, why do I say events, not psychology? A lady came to me, an Indian lady I was seeing. I said, during this period were you deceived by a lover? She said yes. He made you pregnant? She said yes. You had to abort it? She said yes. Then you had to escape from that atmosphere? She said yes. She ran away to Delhi to seek a job. She cannot go back and face her society. India is a conservative, puritanical society. A girl before marriage having an abortion will find it impossible to get married even today. She said yes. I said, now your horoscope is correct and I will give you future predictions. So an event of the past has shaped your reactions, your psychology for the present. If you are not able to trace a past event, please do not delude yourself into thinking that you are able to portray a character psychologically. You are mistaken. What is the trauma this person has suffered in the past which is affecting his reaction today? Do you know that? That you as an astrologer, without that person having to tell you, should be able to trace out. So an astrological reading sometimes can take hours and hours and hours. It is not a matter of half a day. It is a matter of half an hour. Sometimes it is 4 days. Sometimes it is 5 minutes. So don't be flashy, be substantial. Be substantial, don't be flashy. The moment you try to be flashy as an astrologer, I can be very flashy. You can read out a horoscope from there, I will tell you 4 things straight away from here. And you will clap, but that clapping will not satisfy me, because that is being flashy. I must be substantial. So how do I become substantial? Now I come to the second blind spot. With this, I don't know whether I can move or someone will turn over here. Now I am attacking myself. What is the attack? I showed you I fixed and gave a brilliant prediction in the case of the Romanian ambassador. Now when any astrologer comes with lot of ego, the first thing that should happen to him is his prediction must collapse immediately so that his ego is destroyed. If your ego is destroyed, you become a good astrologer. Now this horoscope destroyed my ego and the egos of every astrologer before whom I presented this horoscope. The horoscope I am describing, it's a very favorite example of mine. Scorpio rising with Rahu in it. Ketu in the 7th house. Those of you who know something about Kal Sarpa Yoga, you say it is pure Kal Sarpa Yoga, but don't be afraid of Kal Sarpa Yoga. 10th house, Jupiter and Moon, beautiful Gajakesari Yoga in the 10th house, and that in Leo sign, that is a royal sign. The best sign in any horoscope for high rise in life is Leo. Remember that. That is a royal sign. Then in the 11th house you have Mars, Sun and retrograde Mercury. The best house for Mercury always is Virgo. In Sarvartha Chintamani, if you read Phaladasha, that is results of Mahadashas, Mercury in Virgo makes you an intellectual and an author. It is the Prithvi Tattva Rashi of Mercury, that is the earth element is here. Air element is there in Gemini. Earth element in Virgo. So Mercury here makes you a real, practical, useful intellectual. Now one of the persons who discusses astrology with me in Delhi, he said, well, whether others believe it or not, I have to believe it in your case. I said, why? He said, your Mercury Dasha started after 86. In 89, 90, just on the eve of my retirement, I produced 4 books, 2 on astrology, 1 biography of former Prime Minister of India, Chandrasekhar, whom I had given a prediction that he would become the Prime Minister, and another Mandal Commission X-rayed, a book I produced to fight a case in the Supreme Court. I am not a lawyer, but to fight a case in the Supreme Court as a public litigant, public litigation interest, before a full bench of 9 judges in the Supreme Court of India. And my book, Mandal Commission X-rayed, became the mainstay of that judgment. And all the topmost lawyers of the country made use of my book. 4 books I had written after my Mercury Dasha started. Then my inspired Dr. David Frawley came back to America after India, gave me a ring. He said, we want your books. I had written so many papers. I said, all right, I will do it. And in 5 months' time, I produced 5 books. I can write very fast. I just take my manual typewriter and type out and produce things faster than you can do on your computer. And sitting here helped me in Washington by giving me a manual typewriter. He said, I'll tell you a computer. I said, by the time I learn it, my American tour will be over. So let me continue with my primitive tools. Now see this horoscope. I am repeating. Scorpio rising, Rahu in it, Ketu in the 7th house. Jupiter and Moon in the 10th house. Sun, Mars, retrograde Mercury in the 11th house. And Saturn and Venus in the 12th house. Those who just look at a bare horoscope and give predictions. In India, there are many pandits who make very big claims about themselves. I put this horoscope before them. Say, tell me about this person. They say, yes. He can have daughters. He can have this, he can have that. I said, okay, some of the things are right. Then I take another piece of paper, draw it again, and say, tell me about him. He said, well, you have given me this already, I have discussed. I said, no, my dear sir. These are two different horoscopes of two different individuals born in two different places with the same planetary position and same everything. A slight difference in the degrees. Slight difference in the degrees. Now what is the difference, I tell you? The person who was born earlier is a student of history. He is a government servant like me, a class 1 officer of Government of India in a high position. The first issue of his parents, he has a brother younger and a sister younger. Child, okay, thank you. Well, child, thank you so much. Well, he is from India, he is in New York, Mr. Rakesh Sharma, and like Mr. Chakrapani, Mr. Rakesh Sharma has been telling me, use these words in USA. They will not understand these because they understand USA better than I understand. So, children. Now, this man has two children, both daughters. The first person. The second person is the second issue of his parents. He has a sister elder. The second person is an engineer, not an art student, not a student of humanities. He has one son and one daughter. The third difference, the first one is a government servant, and a government servant in India gets a sizable good pension after retirement. But during the entire service career, he has to live on his salary only. So by today's modern standards, a high-ranking government servant is actually a poor man. But the other man is a multimillionaire. The first man is only a government servant, but with a high rank. The first one got married in 1984. The second one got married in 1981. The father of the first one is alive. The father of the second one is dead. Therefore, to solve these problems, it is neither the bare horoscope, nor the Vinshotri Dasha, nor even the Charadasha of Gemini will help you. You will have to go into divisional horoscopes. Make the degrees properly and therefore go into divisional horoscopes. When you go into the divisional horoscopes, then you see what are the differences that are emerging out. The bare horoscope will reveal a little bit of the story, will conceal a greater bit of the story. The bare horoscope is like the definition of statistics. What it reveals is so much, what it conceals is vital. Now I am again posing a question before you. Now you are seeing two horoscopes. The common features in these horoscopes, Rahu in Pisces in both, Saturn in Aries in both. I am reeling off from my memory, I am not seeing that. Jupiter, Venus and Mars in Gemini in both. Sun and retrograde Mercury in Cancer in both. And Ketu in Virgo in both. Moon in Aquarius in both horoscopes. Now those of you who give predictions on the basis of the moon signs of India or on the sun signs of Western astrology will fall into dangerous traps if you give predictions on that basis here. As astrologers, you know very well that the lagna, the rise ascendant, changes after every 2 hours. But the moon stays in one Rashi for 2 days and 6 hours minimum. If you give predictions on the basis of the sunshine as you are doing in the West, for 30 months the destiny will remain the same for 12% of people. I mean 1/12 of humanity. So giving predictions on the basis of sun sign or moon sign is wrong. It is partly correct only. Giving predictions on the basis of lagna is scientific. Please remember this. Because after 2 hours it will undergo a change, and there you can make divisional horoscopes also. Now the similarity in both horoscopes and the dissimilarity in both horoscopes is also visible. This girl who has got Dhanur Lagna, that is Sagittarius, has a brother younger to her. The other one who has Scorpio is the eldest, first child. The one who has Dhanur Lagna, Sagittarius, had come along with her mother to me. She was asking questions, her mother, so many things. I said, your daughter is very well qualified. I worked, of course, other details which I can't explain here. She is in a technical line, and in that technical line she has learned something artistic. So she said, yes, she is an architect. She is going to get married soon. She will go out of India. She will marry an Indian belonging to your caste, Brahmin, working in a bank in a foreign country. So her husband is from the World Bank in India, in Washington. That prediction clicked. In the case of the other girl, she had come to me. She was competing for one of the toughest courses in India, Ahmedabad Institute of Designing. Her father asked me, she had failed 3 times before. Succeed this time. She would become a dress designer, earn millions of rupees, but go outside India also. She went to Egypt. She has been earning quite a lot. The career patterns are totally different, but both have semi-technical or technical education in which an element of artistry is thrown in. When I say an element of artistry, you have to concentrate always on the moon and Venus. Without the moon and Venus helping you, you do not get element of artistry. And I will modify the expression and say whenever Venus comes into play, an element of sophistication comes into play. Venus is representative of 64 kala, as we say, 64 types of arts. Venus is the most artistic planet in any horoscope. So therefore the Venusian influence on their education, one becomes a dress designer. Well, I am not a very dress conscious man. If I appear well dressed before you, it is because of my younger brother, who made sure that I had decent dress for USA. But without Venusian influence, you cannot even have love for good clothes. So without Venusian influence, you cannot have a love for good dress designing. And an architect, I am sure you will concede, is an artist. He is an engineer plus an artist. He is an architect. He is shaping something beautiful. So Venusian influence has to come into play. But that Venusian influence plus mathematics makes you an architect. That Venusian influence plus a scissor makes you address designer. Now we have been working on professions. We have done very brilliant work in Delhi, but when Americans came, 50% of my researches on professions just collapsed straight away. Why? Why do people have so much variety? 3 years you are doing acupuncture, then after that you give up, you become you learn, do a diploma in estate management. Then after that you join the TM movement. Come back and change the guru. Finally land up doing Ayurveda. So to see that fast changing kaleidoscopic pattern in your horoscopes, I make use of Gemini's different dasha systems. Without that I can't catch it. I can't do it on the basis of Vinchotri alone. I make a very fast this thing and I am immediately able to spot the change in your career. I will never fail. But what precisely that change is what you have to tell me. I have come to USA to get that feedback. Therefore I said I must see maximum number of horoscopes first to understand how these changes are taking place. It is very extraordinary. In USA, if you succeed in doing research in professional patterns, you will have made the biggest contribution to the world of psychology. Make no mistake about it. Why I am telling you, I will tell you a related story. Someday you may hear of a book written by one Mr. Peter Holt, an Englishman. This book may come out in May this year, and there will be one chapter on me, either praising me or abusing me. The reason is very simple. He got my address and he came to me to meet me in Delhi. Earlier he had gone to some astrologer who got a properly cast horoscope for him. I noted it down. He came, started talking.